Hello, hello. Thank you for coming to the session tonight. And welcome to our event all about accessible gaming and online safety, practical tips for parents of VI children. My name's Ellen. I am your facilitator for tonight. I'm the events manager here at Look, and I have lived experience of visual impairment. I'm registered blind myself and have been for since I was a child. Um, for anyone who doesn't know much about us already, if this is your first event with Look, Look is a small national charity that provides support to children and young people and their parents affected by visual impairment. Our main service, our primary service, is a peer mentoring service where we connect visually impaired young people with an older role model who's also visually impaired for peer support, connection, and guidance. Um, to support the peer mentoring service, we also offer parent support through regular chat groups, themed sessions like these, and we also run a healthy parent course as well, which is more about promoting well-being for parents. It's really interesting. And we also put on online events and in-person events as well. We do also have a accessible holiday flat in Scarborough for anyone who might be interested. So that's just a bit of an overview of the various bits and bobs that we offer. Um, Tonight we are talking about accessible gaming and online safety. We're joined by two expert speakers to guide us through the topic, which I know is a very hot topic amongst many of you. We've had a few messages saying that this sort of theme is very timely. People's young people and children are sort of showing an interest in gaming or trying to sort of keep up with friends and access different games. So we'll get into all of that this evening. Hello, we'll introduce our lovely speakers. So we have James and Matt joining us this evening as our resident experts in the topic. Um, and so Matt, I'll ask you to introduce yourself first and how have you been involved with Look before?
Hi, so I'm Matt. I'm also known as the Wobbly Gamer. I am a video games accessibility specialist and content creator. I'm also visually impaired, and I got involved with Look quite a few years ago through their mentoring. I was an active mentor for a number of years, and yeah, that's me. That's how I got involved with Look. My condition's nystagmus. I don't know if every one of you will know it, but it causes the pupils to wobble, hence the wobbly gamer. It's kind of on brand, it all works together. So yeah, that's me.
Nice, thank you, Matt. And James, would you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm James Kyle. I work for RNIB Scotland as a social action community coordinator. I'm also the co-facilitator of RNIB's visually impaired gaming group for people in the Scotland and Northern Ireland regions. I've also done a little bit of work around accessibility, running fundraising events for RNIB around game accessibility and speaking at conferences and events when the opportunity arises to promote accessible gaming and raise awareness of blind people and visually impaired people's desire to not just play games, but to be a bigger part of the games industry as well.
Brilliant, thank you. And thank you both for joining us tonight. I really appreciate your bringing your knowledge and expertise to the session. So we had quite a few questions come in from parents attending tonight, and a lot were along the same lines or along the same themes. So we've tried to group questions together to formulate some questions to kind of cover the topics that were raised, and then we'll get to Q&A a bit later if anything else occurs to you. So just to start us off then. Um, by the premise for this session is accessible gaming and online safety. So the first point being about how accessible gaming is and what does accessibility within gaming really mean. So I wonder if maybe James, if you could tell us a little bit about what the kind of gaming landscape is like in terms of accessibility at the moment. What consoles are accessible, what games are accessible? Is there much choice? What is it looking like?
Yeah, sure. And Matt, feel free to jump in if I say anything that's maybe not quite correct, because I think some of my sort of game suggestions and things I'm not too sure about. But no, the games industry has been doing a lot of work in the past sort of decade and a half to make games more accessible to people with a wide array of disabilities and health issues and barriers to play, and not just players with vision impairments, but vision impairments has been one of the areas that presents a lot of challenge for making games more accessible. The teams at PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo, PC game distribution platforms, Steam, run by Valve, they're all doing work to make their hardware and software more accessible to players with disabilities. And that includes, for example, on the PlayStation, Xbox, and now the Nintendo Switch too, the inclusion of a wide range of accessibility features, such as being able to make the text larger on the screen, being able to invert the colors if you need it, being able to zoom in on specific parts of the screen as you need to zoom in and out if that's required, and also the inclusion of a screen reader, at least for the operating system level, so you can navigate the system's user interface to find the games you want to play, to change the settings and do things like that. From the software side of things, all the platforms have some games that are accessible to a blind user, but it does vary from platform to platform. And so, for example, on the Xbox, you've got games like Forza Motorsport, which has got its blind driving assists, which allow a player with no sight to race around the track, compete with other players, and to have a similar experience to that of a sighted player. Likewise, on the PlayStation side of things, they've been doing a lot of good work through their series of The Last of Us games, which not really suitable for children, I would say, but they're a really good example of how you would take ostensibly like inaccessible third-person action adventure game with the top tier sort of cinematic sort of cutscenes, and it just looks like the most expensive to make PlayStation game, really. But if you have no sight, you can play through that game start to finish through its things like its narrated menus and the adaptations that are made to the game to allow a blind player to not necessarily have the exact same be playing the exact same game as a sighted player, but the experience they'll have of playing the game will be very, very similar, and they'll experience the story of that it unfolds as you play through the game in the same way that a sighted player would. But I would
quite
say
a lot of work being done, and quite a lot of range.
Yeah, and it's ongoing. So at university level, you've got research studies being done all the time to explore new ways of making games accessible. Within the games industry itself, you've got things like the Game Accessibility Conference coming up in April, and then again in October, where game developers from all the different game studios will come together to enjoy a series of talks and presentations on what the latest developments are in games and game accessibility. It's one of the few areas of game development where competition between the companies really disappears, and all the learning and all the methods of making the games more accessible are generally shared and open for other teams and companies to make use of and to take inspiration from. So it's really positive. It's one of the most exciting areas of game development, I think.
Brilliant. That's so positive to hear.